Freestyle Travel. Hey everybody, Kenflannery here. As always, I'm in Dublin, Ireland, for my final hours in Ireland. It's been about a month, give or take, here. Third time I've ever come here. It's been awesome. So I'm gonna tell you some stories that have accrued over the last month. I got some hitchhiking story from the yoga retreat training I was with. Story about a leprechaun who's probably not a pedophile, but also lived in shambles and invited me in. That's the whole story we'll get into. And also a couple random friends I crossed paths with. One who was on a work trip, one on a family trip, and just happened to be in Ireland. And I always love when that happens, when you run into someone in a part of the world you're not used to seeing them in and not expecting to see them. So yeah, bunch of good stuff. Also trip hopping, which I've mentioned a few times on here. I haven't had much time to work on it this past month since I've been in Ireland, but I decided, screw it, I'll give you guys an access code if you want to check it out. I kind of slipped it in on the last episode, but I waited towards the end and kind of skimmed over it intentionally, so not too many people would jump on, but screw it. If you guys want to jump on, go to triphopping.com, and the access code is Imperial Stout. There it is. Imperial Stout, all lowercase with a space in between. You type that in and you will then be able to sign up, create an account. Please fill out your bio and upload a picture. That's all I ask. And then check it out. And there's a feedback link, which you should see, bottom right corner. Click that, a little pop-up will pop up. And there's something that says feedback. So if you do run into a bug, there's going to be a few. Or if you see something you like, something you don't like, suggestion, just hit that feedback. Do it 10, 20 times if you want. I don't care. The more the better. And yeah, just let me know what you think. Lots of improvements to come. But you'll see just a basic layout of what I'm going for. And you'll be amongst the first to use it. So enjoy that. All the places you can get somewhere, all the places you can stay, what to do, and then keep track of your travels and my travels or your friends' travels. See where I'm at. See where people are going. It's going to be pretty fun, pretty awesome. You'll see. Check it out. triphopping.com. And let's get into Ireland and how it's been. And then I'll tell you where I'm actually going to in a few hours here. Alrighty, so last episode, I had just kind of arrived in Ireland. My friend runs the Yoga Mandala Project. That's Molly, she's awesome. And she brought me along to do some video stuff, just different content for the project, for marketing and some of their practices and resource channels, stuff like that. That's why she brought me along. And that was kind of 4 stages. So the first stage was over there in West Cork. I'll kind of give you a picture of the island of Ireland if you haven't been here yet. That's the southwest. And the next stage was to be in Dublin, which is on the east coast. Obviously the big city in Ireland. And after that, just south of Dublin, not too far, maybe an hour at the most. And finally, the 4th stage was sort of a wind down, chill period, where most of the yoga stuff was over, and it's just like, you know, kind of celebrate. That would be in Galway, which is on the west coast in the center of the island. So, yeah, everything went all right over there in West Cork. We sort of roved over to Dublin in different groups. There's a lot of people. There's sort of a core group of people that were there the whole time, and then few ladies and stuff coming and going during the different stages. So got over to Dublin, and yeah, it's Dublin. It's not bad over here. I had a friend who I met at a couchsurfing collective in Alaska years ago, back when couchsurfing was more kind of grassroots, and instead of having a headquarters, they would just rent places in different parts of the world for a few months at a time and have volunteers in their group work on stuff. Anyways, that's where I met my friend I'm staying with here in Dublin, so I was doing that, and yeah, just checking stuff out, taking some video here and there when I could of the yoga trainings they were doing during the day, and catching up around town, just walking around. Typical wandering, a bunch of Guinness, of course, and yeah, kind of randomly a friend saw a post, saw that I was in Ireland, and he was going to be here on work. So that was awesome. I got to catch up with him for a night, and then in the morning just grab some beers. Very cool. Just to, I've only ever really seen him in Utah and I guess Colorado on a goofy trip. So that was very cool just to see him. And then we were going down to Bray area, just south of Dublin, for the next phase of it. So they had like a couple Airbnbs. I was squeezed into one of them and didn't do much video stuff there, but was hanging out, going on side trips. The girls I was with, they wanted to go to this Glendalough lake kind of area. Did some hiking, saw some waterfalls. The first time I was in Ireland, I hiked Wicklow Way, which was like in that area. So that was kind of cool just to revisit some of that stuff and just see that little path. It's like a 130 kilometer little hiking trail that actually starts in Dublin and then just goes into the hills that they call mountains. Pretty fun. Some of that, and then kind of the last night we were there, they wanted to go to some abbey that was close to Kilkenny, so we took the drive out that way. And I've always liked Kilkenny. When I was pretty young, my parents went on a trip to Ireland and they came back with a can of Kilkenny beer. It's kind of as a joke or whatever, but that little souvenir sat on my shelf, part of my childhood, and I always wanted to go there. So the first time I came to Ireland, I went there and happiness ensued. So we went to Kilkenny, and when we drove out there, I actually just had my whole bag packed because I had a suspicion that something might happen or I might want to make a move and go out on my own. I knew we had to be in Galway the next day, and it's like, let me just grab everything just in case, and that kind of worked out. So when we got to Kilkenny, the girls kind of wishy-washy here and there, and they wanted to go to some like witch pub, and we went in there and it was busy and the witch part wasn't even open, and they kind of sat down. I was like, I'm gonna go 2-3 blocks away to this brewery corner bar that I'd been to the first time I went to Kilkenny 9 years earlier, just for nostalgia, just pop in there. That same pub is where I actually met this guy who invited me 9 years ago. He invited me to stay with him and his wife just down the street, and they're the ones who kind of got me on the radio for the whole Flannery pub story. Anyone who knows that story or read my book, A Six Pack of Hitchhiking Stories, knows that story of me going around Ireland, going to all the Flannery pubs, and winding up on the radio. It was like a whole thing, just fun. Anyways, that all kind of happened because of brewery corner in Kilkenny and meeting this guy and his wife who sort of forced me to get on the radio. So anyways, I was like, let me pop in there for just nostalgia, grab a beer while they're doing whatever they're doing. And in like the first 5 minutes I was there, there's only one other guy in the pub really with green hair. And he invited me to stay with him because I was like, oh yeah, I'm heading back, but I almost thought about camping here and going to Galway tomorrow. He's like, well, if you need a place to stay, you can stay with me. And I was like, let's do it. Let's do it. So I went back to the girls real quick. They were ready to leave already. So perfect timing. I grabbed my bag and I said, I will see y'all in Galway tomorrow. Or Gort, as it were, close to Galway. And grabbed my backpack, and right away this guy just starts telling me about some mental health issues that he's gone through, and ex-wife, and he's got a kid that's like 9 years old or something. He's like 25 or something. And some drug addiction stuff he'd been through and whatever. I got a couple beers in me. I'm listening to his stories, and then he's like, oh yeah, and then I would start walking by like little children and getting sexual thoughts, and that was a problem. I'm like, yeah, that sounds like a problem, dude. He's like, I didn't do anything about the thoughts, but I was having them. I was like, all right. It's pretty honest going in the first hour of meeting somebody. He's like, well, let's get a couple crates of beer and have a session back at the place. And he's like, by the way, my housemate, when he comes home, like, he's gonna try to get in your head and mess with you. And I was like, all right, game on, I guess, whatever that means. So we grab 40 beers, a couple crates, and lug them back to his place. And he's like, by the way, when we get into my place, just going to be a little bit messy. And that's something I've heard a million times since I've been traveling, and can literally mean anything. In this case, it meant we walked in and there's just, I don't know how many pizza boxes, I don't know how many things of noodles, weeks, maybe months old, spills of ranch dressing and stuff all over the floor, nowhere to put your feet. That was purely on floor, just stepping on straight trash. Just had that gutter punk smell right away. Right away, that stench of like diesel sweat and urine or something. I don't know, it's hard to describe, but it's a very distinct smell that I've smelled a handful of times in my life. I was like, oh shit, he wasn't kidding. And then he's like, there's the bathroom, it doesn't flush, but we just used a bucket. But he's like, don't worry about that, I'll just get to it today or tomorrow. I'm like, all right. And very quickly we're sitting on the couch and you can tell he's about to throw up. So he's like trying to hold it in. I'm like, dude, if you gotta throw up, go throw up, you know? So he runs and grabs the flush bucket and then comes back to the couch to like keep being social, you know, and just starts throwing up in the bucket right next to me. I'm like, all right, here we go. And, you know, I'm drinking away to, you know, make this a better situation, as it were. So, yeah, it's just vomiting. At one point, he spills the bucket. No, there's no cleanup involved. Once something hits that floor, I gather it's there for the long haul, including that puke. So I'm like, all right. But we're listening to music. He's asking me to play different stuff for him. He's playing stuff for me. We're bullshitting. His roommate comes home eventually. I wasn't sure what to expect. But it was not as crazy as I thought. It was just a bunch of shit talking, which was fun. Just a big shit talking session. You know, the more we drank, the more we were just shitting on each other, just, you know, having fun, just playing on stereotypes. I mean, obviously I started this podcast calling him a fucking leprechaun. I was leaning into that. Just calling him a leprechaun and asking for his fucking gold, and, you know, and they're like asking me what kind of gun I have in my backpack because I'm American, you know, that kind of just shit talk, just having fun. Yeah, no animosity or anything like that. His roommate was not trying to get in my head and fuck with me. It was just a good shit talking sesh. Many beers, some cider got involved, a bunch of vodka and orange juice got involved. Yeah, it's just like, all right, well, I'm locked in now. Like I said, I have a pretty high bar for filth and different stuff. I've slept in a lot of crazy places. But yeah, this one was fairly nasty. I wasn't super stoked on laying on that couch, and I guess I ended up winding up on the chair, a little less surface area, a little lazy boy chair, falling asleep on that. Woke up like 10:30 in the morning, instantly popped up, went to the bathroom, which was fucking, I don't know, like 40 layers of piss, you know, just like from the day before. And oh man, that was pretty rank. That pungent urine smell of old and new, complex aroma of urine. Did I get that in your head? Because I can get it out of my nose for like a day or two, man, between that and the living room. But yeah, he woke up as he heard me waking up, and I was just out of there. I was gone in 60 seconds, you know, from the chair to the bathroom, pee, grab my bag, said goodbye to him, exchange a little information, and he's like, yeah, he's like, you can stay for 6 months if you want, like, getting a bunch of ketamine this week. I'm like, holy shit, this dude goes all in. That was my leprechaun. And out into the day I went. It was, you know, Ireland, so it was pretty much raining like the whole time I've been here up until recently. Not like constantly, but, you know, every day it rained at some point, a little bit. So, you know, just kind of, mostly like getting misted on, not like super heavy downpours necessarily. But yeah, just kind of a misty, rainy day. Had to hitchhike to Galway from Kilkenny. So Kilkenny's kind of south central Ireland. So what is it, maybe 2 or 3 hours to get to Gort, south of Galway. So I start hitchhiking. I got a ride pretty quickly, and then a second ride, and then older woman picked me up. She was a geography professor. That was awesome. She said she was going to Ennis, which is just south of where I was going. But it turns out she's actually going to stop in Limerick first, so rode with her. Real fascinating conversation. She's on a sabbatical at the moment, and she's writing like the book about lakes in Ireland. So she goes around the world actually, but a lot of Ireland, and tests the quality of lake water and stuff like that. Kind of sounds boring when I'm saying it now, but it was a good conversation talking to her, and she was asking me just about hitchhiking and travel and junk like that. And anyways, in Limerick, she's like said she had to do some errands and had a coffee date and stuff, and like sort of invited me to join, but I could tell not really. So I was like, I'm just gonna walk in Limerick and carry on the day. So that's what I did. I went to Tesco, which is a grocery store around here, got some bread and stuff to chew on, and was gonna pop into one of those FLANNERY bars that I've been to, but it was closed. So I went back to the road, and at that point, like an hour had passed, and sure enough, as soon as I get to the main highway, honk honk, it's her again. So I hopped into her car again, just good timing, I guess, and she took me up to Ennis, which is, I don't know, less than 30 minutes from where I was going. By the time I got there, I got a message from Molly that some of her friends were going to be passing through, so I got a ride from a couple of her friends for the last little leg of it. Kind of made it easy to get to that final stage with the yoga crew. And that was cool. A lot of those two friends that I met, those guys had helped her out in Greece when she was helping out refugees there. So there's a bunch of people like that, a lot of people from Greece that she'd met in different stages. A bit of a reunion of sorts. Yeah, all staying in different little cabins, and there's a friend who lived on the property, and just a good time, just all catching up. So that was like last 3 or 4 days hanging out with them was there, and we, did little side trips. I did some more video stuff, and we took a trip up to Galway City and got some beer and walked around. We went to the Cliffs of Moher, which I'd been to before. Going out the door, going to the store. Do you want some more? That was a good time. The Cliffs of Moher are fucking beautiful. You definitely love it if you went out there. So good times, and yeah, finally the people started dropping out, going back home. And finally the morning came where I woke up alone, ready to go out on my own. And at this point I had already gotten a plane ticket leaving Dublin about a week later, which is now today. So I knew I had a week to screw around on my own, so I decided I would hitchhike up to Letterkenny to see a friend up there who I hadn't seen in a minute. So hitchhiked up there, took 8 rides to get up there, better part of the day. But yeah, I've had good luck in Ireland. Good luck but the roads are weird. So if you're ever hitchhiking in Ireland, in my experience, you get picked up right away, but sometimes there's nowhere to pull over. Like sometimes in the cities, there'll be the roundabout and the entrance to the motorway, but there's literally like 0 shoulder. So you got to hope that someone just stops traffic, which is not easy and not a bold move most people want to make. Or it's like narrow country roads where there's nowhere to stop, which is okay if they're straight because people will stop anyways, but if they're windy, people are less likely to stop because someone could whip around the corner and smash you. So that element has made it a little tricky to hitch at times. But I found when I'm in a spot where people can pull over, they do within like 5 or 10 minutes. So yeah, not too bad. Getting up there to Letterkenny, caught up with my buddy, and I was hoping I was going to film a hopping episode of this Kennegar brewery. I'd been in touch with them back and forth, but ultimately the timing didn't work out, so that kind of sucked. I still popped in there. The beer was really good. I've also noticed the beer culture here in Ireland. There's a handful of breweries, but there's not a lot of breweries with tap rooms. So, I'd find a bottle or a can of a beer that I liked, and then I'd look them up and it'd be like, okay, here's where their brewery is, but you can't actually go in there and have a beer. So that's been a little disappointing, but yeah, maybe next time I'm here, I'll try to plan it better and film a proper hopping episode with either Kennegar or one of these other ones that I liked. I'm sure I can work something out. But yeah, at that point, the day before I was going to leave his place and kind of adventure on. Another friend had saw something I posted online and said, I'm in Ireland with my family. And I haven't seen this guy in like a decade. I used to actually go on adventures with Molly and him, oddly enough. And he was going somewhere that was like not too far. He was going to the Giant's Causeway, the very north in Northern Ireland, a couple hours drive from where I was in Letterkenny. So it's like, hell yeah, I'll go meet up with him. So hitchhiked that way. Same kind of deal. Took like an hour and a half to walk through Letterkenny to get to a place to hitchhike. Once I was there, 5 minutes, got a ride. Got dropped off by Derry, which is just in Northern Ireland, and then I had to walk for like a couple hours that time because it's all curbside. That kind of sucked. I mean, it could have been worse. But once again, once I got to a spot, got a ride right away. 2 guys in a van. I think I posted a picture of those guys on Hobo Lifestyle on the Facebook page or something. Those guys were awesome. They took me out to lunch, and then they took me right to the Giant's Causeway out of their way, where walked around for a bit and then walked into town, was able to meet up with my buddy, again, who I haven't seen in 10 years. So that was super cool. After a couple beers and it was in Bushmill, so, you know, they had the whiskey. A couple shots of that. His sister, mom, and dad turned up, took us out to dinner. Awesome. Fish and chips, Guinness, stories. And then, a few more beers at the pub with my buddy. And they'd all offered to kind of let me stay, but there actually was like 0 room in the room they were staying in, not even on the floor. It was that tight, but they let me sleep in the car, which at least got me like inside for the night. And yeah, woke up in the morning, a little coffee, a little goodbye, and at this point, I'm kind of aiming to get back towards Dublin through Belfast. So I took the slow road, hitchhiking along the northeast of Northern Ireland, which is beautiful. One of the most beautiful stretches you can go on. Recommend it. Just slowly going, hitching one ride at a time. Some dude dropped me off at some caves in Cushendun, I think was the town. And he's like, they filmed Game of Thrones here. I said, cool. I walked around these caves, and I don't know, I haven't seen much of Game of Thrones, but I guess I was in some caves from some episode. Yeah, and I just kept walking around, slowly going, snacking, walking, hitching, making my way to Belfast. And then, found myself in the center of Belfast, like 6, 7 p.m., nowhere to stay. Like, oh, the city's a little bigger than I remember it being. Super busy, Saturday night. So I even thought about, like, getting a hostel. I looked that up, and that was like fucking 40 pounds or something to stay in, which is like almost $60, like 50, I don't know. It's like $55 to stay in a hostel. I'm like, well, can't afford that. That's like half of the money I have left. I'm not blowing that. If it was like $10, I would have maybe thought about it. Nope. So I'm like, oh shit. I'd found a coin earlier, a £1 coin, and the last guy who gave me a ride into Belfast gave me a £5 note. So I had £6. So I'm like, I might as well use this. So I got on like a public bus for 5 and change and took that as far south as I could out of Belfast. And at least the town it got me to, I was able to stealth camp, actually find some woods and get out of the way. Camp for the night, and yeah, woke up the next day and sort of leisurely hitchhiked down into Dublin. That was just a day ago. And here I am, back in Dublin, staying with my friend the last couple nights, just catching up with her, sharing travel stories, walking around Dublin some more, enjoying it, soaking the rest in. So today, I go to Italy. Fucking A. Let's jump to the outro, and I'll tell you what might be going on in Italy. We'll see. Alrighty, so yeah, that's the story of Ireland this time. Pretty mellow, pretty chill. Crazy leprechaun dude. All that good stuff. But yeah, I was just looking, actually using Trip Hoppin' and some other sites, just seeing how cheaply can I get to where. Like, I know I want to go to mainland Europe. A few things going on. I want to see my buddy in the Netherlands. There's a Trust Route sort of meetup in Berlin next month. So what's the cheapest, most interesting way to get there? And I found a Ryanair flight for about $20 going from Dublin to Brindisi, Italy, someplace I never heard of. But there it is in the south of Italy. $20. There were no flights much cheaper than that going anywhere. So I'm like, all right, that's perfect. So my idea is I'm flying out there pretty soon. Should check what time it is actually. Yeah, I gotta get back. Yeah, so I'll be flying there today. I've got a Trust Routes host set up for a night or two in Brindisi. And yeah, I'm just gonna kind of wing it. I'm gonna see what this guy says, just as far as advice, direction. Might go to Sicily, hitch around. I'm sure I'll pop up through Rome. But my loose idea is to get over there, check out a bunch of stuff, obviously find some breweries if I can, drink some wine, eat some pasta, whatever, just whatever Italy throws at me, just enjoy it. Maybe see some other people along the way and sort of hitchhike up to the Netherlands, see my buddy Walter. I'm thinking this is what I'm gonna do if it all times out right. And then just in time to get over to Germany for the Trust Routes Collective. And that's all I got. That's as far forward as I've really kind of thought out. I've got different ideas for what might happen next, but I got a whole month to just kind of see how things unfold. What happens, what goes. Make a couple bucks here or there at some point, probably, because these pints have been adding up. But happy days. So I've never been to the south of Italy before. Been to the north. I've been to Milan and Florence and Venice, and I wound up in Pisa once, just not even knowing I was there. Just like looked up and I saw that, that leaning tower of Pisa. I'm like, that thing looks fucking like the leaning tower of Pisa. And I see all these fucking clowns taking pictures, perspective photos, like they're holding it up, and I'm like, I'm there, aren't I? This is that tower. So anyways, yeah, I've been up there in the north, but I'm excited to see what the south is, and obviously I'll let you guys know how it goes. And shit, if you hear this right away and you know anything cool, hit me up, let me know. If you know people out there worth couch surfing with, let me know. If you know good breweries, let me know. Whatever. Certain foods I should look for. Whatever it is, I'm stoked. Weather should be perfect, which is just most important because I can camp whenever I want. Should be good. And yeah, happy days. So that's what's up. Hope you guys are all doing awesome. Like I said, go ahead, check out the trip hopping site and be critical. Hit that feedback thing as much as possible for dumb stuff, grand stuff, big ideas, little ideas. The more feedback I get, the better, and I will be getting back on top of all the fixes and improvements here pretty soon. And yeah, I'll even have an opportunity hopefully later this year for some of y'all to get involved if you feel like collaborating on trip hopping. It's a pretty ambitious endeavor. And it's gonna be amazing. Yeah, triphopping.com, Imperial Stout. I think that's it. I gotta walk back and get one last shower, and I think my friend's giving me a ride to the airport. So, fucking A, let's go to Italy. All right, you guys, I will see you down the road.
To hell with plans I made, I need a new escape. With all my shit straight, I'll get my big brain.